Good morning. It's Driven AF Recovery. It is just me and Steven today. We were debating about what to talk about, and we have a guest coming next week. And here at some point, we're gonna have hopefully some guys we know that have mentioned come in, and we're gonna talk about who the fuck we are, as our stories and where we're at now, and just give a little background since we've never really done that. Some people are probably like, who the fuck are these assholes to speak? So we'll at least tell you where we're at and you can decide for yourself.
Yeah, it dawned on us that we never really shared our stories or anything like that.
So. Don't get crazy, but at least to let you know what we were like and what's changed in relatively short amount of time. And hopefully gonna have a couple people that have influenced us greatly come to join us to do an interview style. But for today, we're gonna talk about something that we were just discussing. The having knowledge of what to do versus the actual executing what to do on a regular basis to actually get you results versus just wishing that they would come, even though you know what you need to do, which we just both talked about. But if you want to expound first, my man, have at it.
Sure. I mean, when we started talking about this, it had me thinking about like the many times I was in treatment and how many times I heard a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And I think for me personally, and what I've seen with a lot of guys who are, who return to treatment and make it back, is not that it's not lack of knowledge, or lack of any knowing what to do or how to deal with stuff. It's just lack of execution and lacking the discipline to continue to do the things necessary to maintain your sobriety and your recovery. It's not always easy. I think for a long time I was tired of getting high and tired of using, but I kept going back because maybe I didn't want to accept what was necessary, or I just didn't want to do what was necessary, or I didn't think I was capable or worthy of that life. Whatever the many excuses I told myself, it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. I just wasn't willing to do whatever it took, and people. Maybe I didn't believe, that it would take all that, or that it wouldn't work for me, or like the uniqueness we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe that was part of it. I think there's probably a lot to it, but it comes down to the matter of the fact is I just wasn't willing to execute, and I wasn't executing. There's a lot of things I knew that I had learned that other people with experience with addiction and alcoholism, and people, on the other side who had long-term sobriety, the knowledge and wisdom they imparted on me. I just refused to execute, and once I finally accepted that that's what it was going to take and that's what was necessary, and I got to that point in my life where I was really willing to do whatever it takes, and I started executing on the things that it took, and for me that was, being honest, being authentic, and talking about real stuff with my counselors, having a support network and using it when I was struggling, and looking for guidance to other people and not trying to control everything, and putting my ego to the side and realizing that I'm not special or different than the many other addicts before me who have had success in recovery, and just, looking to them for advice and guidance through this shit. And once I did that and started executing daily, things definitely changed.
I would agree with that. I'm on a little different tack. I remembered what I was trying to think of earlier now, of course. Thank you, you brought it back.
All right, glad I could help.
I knew a lot of the answers, and I have a little bit different story than it seems like a lot of people. I had a pretty successful life up until 29 years old, 30 years old, when I fucked my back up at a strength competition. I had a good, and not to say I'd built my work ethic, I'd been through college, I was an iron worker, was doing pretty good at some things in life, the top end strength athlete, shit was going pretty well. I fucked myself up and discovered drugs, and not to say there wasn't some shit I needed to cover, I was trying to deal with my entire life that I just hadn't, and that took it away.
Right.
And I felt like it still functioned, which without the fuck ton of pain meds I got started with, I would have been down for a year. So there's a lot of factors, but I knew how to do some shit right, and I lost it. And I remember sitting around high as fuck at home, thinking, oh, I need to do this if I just did this. I was still lifting weights and going to work. So like I knew how to make some things succeed, but I wasn't willing to fucking take that knowledge. Like I know how to do this really well. I know how to do this really well, and take that shit and apply it to something else. Or I think some of it was I wasn't willing to, because it meant I had to do something different and I didn't want to yet. Or there was always I'll fucking do it tomorrow, or I'll do it at New Year's, assuming that that's coming up, you know, like. But I have come to believe, like, if you need to change something, you need to just change shit. Like
Now,
yeah, like
not
like
January 1st.
yeah, like oh, I realized this in July or August, but I'll wait till next year.
Right.
And then you implement it for 2 days and quit.
Yeah.
It's just another form of long-term procrastination, I feel like.
Another form of bullshit.
But like you said, I knew how to make things work and get results. I just didn't fucking want to do it with that, because it meant, oh, I have to quit doing all this shit. Or I would quit it and like, oh, I'll do this one instead. But like, it's all the same. Like, I didn't want to just actually do the work I knew necessary in other things with these things. Because, oh, I can still find a way around this with this. It's like, it's flawed logic, I think. But honestly, and I've said this, we say this in groups, I think, like, one of the biggest differences since I got sober is I don't procrastinate anything. I know I gotta do something, I just fucking do it right then and there. Like, it's not like, oh, I'll wait an hour, I'll wait tomorrow, like, I just do it.
And I think, like, dude, not like when you're talking, it made me think of a conversation I had with somebody who isn't quite ready to get into treatment, and their family, I was talking to them, and they're like, what do we do? And I'm like, unfortunately, that's a hard situation for you guys. I said, but until this person realizes that, like, they need to take action now, you know, and it kind of had me thinking to when I was at that point, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like, yeah, I know it's a problem, but like, I don't really want to go through detox. I don't want to go into treatment for inpatient treatment, you know what I mean? I don't want to do all the things I knew were necessary that I needed to do, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I knew that that's what I should do, what I needed to do, and I had the internal dialogue with myself all the time, and I knew what it would take, and just the thought of doing it was like, oh yeah, well, you know, maybe after this next bag or this next, you know, I still got some money in my pockets. Maybe once that's gone.
I haven't burned my life down quite enough yet.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like not quite yet, you know, or you know, oh, I know, yeah, I should probably go to the sober house after treatment, but I really don't want to. You know, it's like you said, like we've known, and I mean, yeah, your stories, from what I've heard, is pretty unique. You know what I mean? Most of the guys and girls I know are like lifelong.
Me too. That's why I was saying, like, I'm not saying I'm different.
No, but your story is a little unique, though. It is. You
lived
know,
it
like,
differently.
your life
unfolded different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you know, like I had to relearn how to do most of their, or not relearn, but you had to relearn how to do some things. I had to learn from scratch how to be an adult.
I mean, I have learned a whole lot of new things too. I'm not gonna lie. The last 4 years, like lots of things that I didn't know, but I applied it. That's why I think this is such a good topic for fucking addicts and recovery, but for anybody, really. Yeah. If you have spent all this time like reading, watching podcasts, trying to learn from people, and you have all this shit, and you can recite all the right shit, but you don't do it, your life doesn't fucking change. Yeah. And that's the end goal, right? Like, why spend all this time learning how to get better and then not actually get better?
Well, that's what, like, you know, so like anytime in like 12 steps, like you see people like that's a pretty solid program that if you follow to a T, you should be fine. But it's like, and we say it all the time, people stop doing what was working. So you stop executing on the things you know.
Yeah, stop executing the steps if that's your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, or you stop doing whatever was working in recovery. We hear that all the time. You stop doing what was working. So it really is, you still have the knowledge. Your knowledge didn't fucking change, right?
Right.
Still had the same knowledge. You just stopped executing. So it just goes to show you that that's exactly what can happen. You know, you have this knowledge. You know what you need to do. Start doing it or continue doing it. You know, and once you stop, if you make it back, you're probably going to be able to pinpoint what happened and when it happened because you stopped executing on the things you knew that were helping you and you knew you needed to do.
I mean, at least in this community we're part of on a regular basis, with all the groups and guys we work with, that is the fucking common thread. Not every single one of them, but I bet 90%.
Didn't do something they know they should have done.
Right.
Whether it's continued care whether it's IOP after treatment, whether it's the sober house, whether it's continuing meetings or continuing one-on-ones with a therapist or counselor, whatever it is. You knew in your heart and your head that it's what you needed to do and what you should do, but for whatever reason, we don't, you know, and I can say this because I've done it numerous times myself, you know, looking back, so I'm not here to judge or talk down on anybody, you know what I mean? Because
sharing
I've
our
done it a
fuck ups,
ton.
because we
you
know we've been on both sides of this
I
shit.
speak on this because I was on that other side for a long time, and I can tell you my life really changed once I stopped, you know, just ignoring the things that I knew I needed to do and ignoring the knowledge that I had. And I mean, somebody like me who's been to fucking like 10 treatments and God knows how many detoxes, if you pay attention at all, you have a good amount of knowledge on what is necessary to do, you know?
Yeah, no, for real, you're not wrong, man, like, but, I mean, I think sometimes it gets to a point where you're just coming to get forced away from the shit, but you still gotta execute on a plan later.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, I mean, I like to say everybody has a plan when they leave. I'm sure that's not true.
Definitely
but
not.
You have to fucking execute the motherfucker and be pliable enough to realize it's probably not gonna go exactly how you fucking think it's gonna go, and be able to adapt a little bit and change some
Along
shit,
the way,
and learn some shit, and like, oh, I'll try this. I'll adjust this a little bit.
Well, I think that's why too, like, you know, anytime we talk to the guys who are about to leave, like, what's our first question always?
Where are you going?
Where are you going? What's your plan? Where are you going? What's your plan? You know what I mean? Goals, vision, future, like what, like short term, long term, what's the plan that you're gonna execute along the way? Because obviously you gotta have the plan first, right?
Well, yeah, you gotta have a map to get anywhere. And
Exactly.
That's all a plan is. Right?
And that's to me, that's all recovery is, right? It's like you got your plan, your knowledge, your map, whatever you wanna call it. On
Toolbox.
you know, all the things you gotta do to stay sober, but it's up to you to execute. Nobody's gonna execute for you. No, you know, you can get all the knowledge from all the counselors and doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists, whatever in the world. You can, like you said, you can read all this stuff and listen to all this great stuff, but if you don't execute on it, like there's nothing anybody can do for you.
Yep.
You know, you have the knowledge, it's up to you to execute, you know, so it's up to us as individuals to execute on the things we learn, you know, whether it be in treatment, after treatment, in meetings, wherever, so be it, you know.
Even if it's like execute on the fact that you don't have the answer, then fucking reach out.
Yeah, exactly, you know, could be executing on what not to do, you know what I mean? And what to
Sometimes.
do, like, you know, but yeah, I think this is a really relevant, important topic for recovery, man, because I know there's a lot of people out there like me. I know I'm not the only one who ignored all the knowledge I had for a very long time, so.
I mean, I think it kind of goes, this is gonna get a little off topic, but not really. I think it goes hand in hand with like looking for the hack. But that's not just addicts, that's people.
Yeah, that's people in general, life in general.
We're no
Everybody wants the
different.
shortcut. Yeah, you know, shortcut. of
Want to
life.
find an easier, softer way
Yeah.
that's gonna get us to exactly where we want.
Yeah.
But you like coming to the idea or the just truth, at least as far as I'm concerned, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna you're just gonna have to do all this shit and do it every day when you need to for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in some facet, forever, you know.
Really, yeah. I mean, when you wanna,
I mean,
that's the truth.
I think, like, for me, you know, I was in this facility 3 different times. And both times, all I heard was people saying, like, yeah, get honest, get authentic, get raw in your one-on-ones, you know. Like, and I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure, I need to do that. Sure, yeah, I'll do that. But, like, I never really did it. Like, I always talked about surface shit in my private one-on-one counseling centers my first 2 times here. Like, the 3rd time here, I think I finally really was like,
The 3rd time here, you really were gonna bullshit that.
yeah,
So-
yeah. There's no way around that, but I also realized too, you know, like, hey, like this, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe this is really what's necessary. This is what I need to do. I've been hearing it for God knows how long now. I guess it's time to execute on that. And once you know, here I am, not having gone back into treatment again, you know.
Yeah, and doing, much better in general.
Yeah.
At least for me watching,
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. I think I was looking for, the hack or the softer, easier way, you know.
I was.
I didn't want to do the uncomfortable
No.
shit. I didn't want to have those uncomfortable one-on-ones, but again, the man you just mentioned, Doc, didn't give me that option.
No.
I
luckily,
like that about him. I like that about him.
I do too. I mean, and I think honestly, in this realm of life, if you're in recovery, you need at least one person, if not a couple, that are not gonna fucking sugarcoat anything for you.
Yeah.
And
Not gonna let you take that easy yourself.
yeah, and like sometimes, you know, call you out, check up on you if you think, and you know, even if we're wrong,
Yeah.
great, cool.
Right.
But like, you need some people that are just like not going to fucking give you the leeway to fucking hang yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I have those people.
Yeah, so do I. That's fortunate, but I think that's almost a necessity.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, ideally you do it for yourself, and I think
Right.
that's something we all got to practice and get better at. And I definitely still do, and probably always will, but like, you're not always gonna fucking. I mean, like, I wish I could say I could ever get to that point where I catch all my bullshit, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
So having somebody else be like, dude, you're full of shit on this, or what the fuck are you doing, or whatever, man, you know, like those hard questions that nobody wants to ask another human being because it's
Yeah.
fucking uncomfortable
Because
and
it's really
shitty.
uncomfortable and
But-
awkward.
But like, having that shit is important because
Yeah.
if you're open to listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, again, I think comes back to like the knowledge and execution. Like, we know we need people like that around, you know, but we don't want to have people like that around at the same time. We want somebody who's gonna
Yeah.
co-sign our bullshit.
I
You know
was
what
just
I mean?
talking about there with, you know, our buddy Mike that was been on these videos when I saw him this morning when I got here. Same thing, man. Like, being real, it's not popular.
You know,
It's
really not.
sometimes not fun. I've gotten more comfortable with it, but I've also gotten more comfortable with the fact that sometimes people aren't gonna like what I have to say and they're gonna be pissed at me. But
It's fine.
yeah, that is fine. Especially in this realm of life, man. Like, I think it's fucking an absolute necessity. But
I agree.
well, I don't know, man. Any other thoughts? I mean, it's kind of a basic subject, but it's also extremely important, I think.
No, I mean, I agree 100%. You know, it's one thing to have all the knowledge, but it's another thing to execute, man. So, I mean, all I can say is, in a closing thought, like, if you know in your gut you should be doing something or you shouldn't be doing something, you're probably right. Run it by, like you just said, those people in your life who will call you out on your bullshit, or who are really there for you and really have no ulterior motive than to see you do well. Talk to those people about it. You know, if you feel like you're lacking on executing something, or you know, feel like you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, you know, knowledge is great, but knowledge ain't shit without execution. You know.
I think you put it perfect, and I'd just say you have to be adaptable to shit in life because things are definitely gonna either happen or not go the way you had planned, and you gotta be able to adjust to shit.
To adapt and overcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that'll be it. I think our friend Josh will be joining us next week if we can manage it time-wise, if not soon. And we'll be doing that other thing at some point when we can get the people here. But we will be back. And you know, I say it every week, but if you got a topic, throw it up there. If you want to come join us, welcome. Come
Yeah.
sit, come have a chair, and we'll talk shop about whatever.
Yeah.
And as always, you know, share if you think it will help somebody. Comment, let us know topics, how we did. If we're full of shit, I don't care. Just throw something up there. I'll debate, you know. I love intelligent conversation. I'm good. I can learn something too, for sure. Always. So I try to keep an open mind. So with that, pay it forward. You know, do something good this week for yourself and others. And just try and little by little, if we can make the world a little better place just by being a little better ourselves every day, I think that's a fucking win for everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all, much love. We will see you in a week.
See you next time.